G'day, this is Steve. We're one of the groups doing Garage Project for our 320 management presentation. With me is Eric, Serena, and Harrison. My name's Max. To get right into it, Garage Project is one of the most famous Wellington craft beer breweries. So really we're aiming for a reputation in the nano brewing market. So that's developing a lot of sort of one-off beers on a large scale and really highlighting creativity. To move on, we've got our current strategies with a business canvas.
So the very heart of Garage Project's value proposition is the beer first philosophy, where everything that they do, it's just about quality beer. And after 9 years in the Wellington market, they've managed to set up some pretty significant distribution channels, which involve supermarkets, liquor stores, and restaurants all over the country.
Obviously, their branding is quite unique. We can see on each new beer produced, they're working with local artisanal types to develop these new designs. And you'll notice that Garage Project itself is actually very minimal. So we're seeing that in their creative designs, people actually recognise the Garage Project brand as opposed to just a generic product. Relationships with bigger companies like Whittaker's, we can see that in our chocolate-based beers, these sort of corporate relationships to build value. It's effectively a small batch brewery with a large trial and error culture, so we're going for, again, creativity as the key. We also have a very strong presence on social media, distributing through every typical medium, as well as our website. We'll got a bit of a summary on the side, but we'll do that at the end. To start with, we've got the industry life cycle.
So what we noticed with Garage Project's industry life cycle is that that potentially Garage Project had reached its maximum growth in the Wellington region, just because we think that Garage Project has had such a successful campaign in getting the Wellington region to know who they are and their products, that we think that maybe they have reached the end of their growth period. We also compared it with Garage Project's most well-known product, which is their beer, and we thought that too had followed Garage Project's industry life cycle, nearing the end of that growth period. So this is really a issue that Garage Project should be aware of, whether they...
So moving into the example, we found economic, environmental, social and legal factors to be the most relevant for Garage Project. On the economic side, they do embrace new growth opportunities where they can, whether that be by partnering with community groups such as the Wellington Zoo or the Cuba Duper Festival, getting amongst with the events to create new themed beers that they can then sell. They do have products such as t-shirts, hoodies, and also dog food, which is made from the byproducts of their beer. And in that sense, they are sustainable. They are looking out for the environment, and they do reduce waste through producing dog food. From a social point of view, we've covered that they're involved with the local community and in their partnerships. Looking at the competitiveness of the craft beer industry, rivalry is intense, and this is fueled by the industry-wide culture of innovation and agility, of which Garage Project is very much a pioneer for. So they're mostly doing everything right to be a major player in this industry. However, threats that they do need to watch out for are the threat of substitutes, and this is quite contingent on their customers choosing to drink craft beer and to try something new, which is definitely synonymous with their culture and something that consumers do buy into. In terms of new entrants, it's easy to enter this market as most breweries are small. However, it's hard to do well, and there is a sort of glass ceiling that is a barrier to gaining more market share. So it's important that Garage Project breaks through this.
All right, thanks for that, Serena. So to summarise, we can see opportunities being in the craft beer industry, which New Zealand and especially Wellington is really getting onto at the moment. We have much local talent to enhance our brand and culture that, again, really drives home our core values. Threats come to, expanding, but we do have restrictions when we try to stay true to our original vision. Tuatara, brands like that have been bought up by Lion, and while they have had that massive influx of capital and they've expanded quite rapidly, they have lost a lot of that craft beer blood. To move into strengths and weaknesses, again, we'll come back to the summary, but in the meantime, the value chain.
When we analyse Garage Project through the value chain framework, we notice that some of its greatest strengths is sort of what we picked up on already, that sort of that small local brewery status, being an independent chain that's focused on ensuring a quality and a unique product, which sort of allows it to have that real strength, especially when customers are wanting authenticity. As well as that, the trial and error culture at Garage Project, which allows Garage Project to develop unique and different brews, which allows them to stay ahead of the curve compared to their competitors, allowing them to stay innovative. As well as that, when we did a Blue Ocean framework, we decided to look at New Zealand's strongest beer brand, which was Steinlager. And when we compared that against Garage Project, what we noticed was that Garage Project's greatest strengths were, as we mentioned in that value chain framework, were in its quality of flavours, and in that customer loyalty. And we thought this was a real area where Garage Project can invest more to further develop its value.
To touch on the VRIN framework, we can see value added in their quality batch production, their reputation, their agile batch production, their packaging and their artwork, and their relationship with local businesses. Now, a lot of that, as we can see, is both rare and inimitable, but a lot of it's substitutable. You can get a lot of those mass manufactured companies, your Lions, your Heinekens, your Steinlagers, who are able to produce beer on a scale that far outweighs our capabilities, and it oftentimes is cheaper. So we do see the capability, or the capacity at least, for competition to undercut us there. So to surmise, the strengths are our agility and our ability to experiment with new flavours, new beers, again, owing to the small batch production end.
And we do wonder whether that experimental nature may also translate into a weakness. So beers are very difficult to come by if they're limited edition. So it's all about keeping the masses happy, and whether Garage Project is willing to sacrifice a bit of that adventurous spirit to do so.
Right, so for our future strategy, we've got two key words that we really want to drive home, really want to have you remember. We want to expand, we want expansion, and we want retention. And those may seem oxymoronic. However, it really comes through, again, like I was explaining with Tuatara. If you expand too quickly, say by means of being bought out, and gaining access to a much larger company's distribution channels and manufacturing processes, you can lose a lot of the heart of craft brewing. And in Garage Project case, that's a particular threat, considering exactly how we pride ourselves on quality and creativity. So looking at the Ansoff matrix, we can see market penetration and product development. We're sort of straight in line between those two. We've got a few fan favourites, but we're developing new ones every day, but we really want to push into new markets with those. So to finish on our recommendations, we've got a plan for immediate term, medium term, and long term. Our immediate is effectively trying to go to Auckland. We want to really get into that market, a lot of money, a lot of people. We believe Ponsonby is one of the best places we could do that, having a lot of the artisanal craft scene.
On the medium term, what we thought we should do is to meet the demand of those new markets was to expand the production facilities of Garage Project, allowing it to have those new opportunities. As well as that, we want to see the establishment of a brew pub in Melbourne. We thought that Melbourne was very similar in its culture to Wellington, and we thought that we could similarly carry on the openings and the success in Wellington to the success in Melbourne.
So you can see that retention of the Garage Project spirit coming through there. In the long term, however, we want a review of the exporting arm of the business and looking towards Korea and the wider Asia Pacific region to expand to.
All right, great. So we hope you've enjoyed that, Stephen. Note, we will be also including these slides, so if you want to go back and have a bit more of a read